Have you ever worked on a project for like, I don't know, 2 years and you're right at the end and you've done most of the legwork, and when it comes to just that last like little bit that's going to make it click and you just can't figure it out? That has been the story of my entire life. I am Mr. 95%. I've been working on my Level Up system legit for 2 years. And actually when I first started it is when I came to Costa Rica for the first time and I started coming up with the framework. Then I built all the scripts and then I flew back and I took, I think it was like 3 weeks, and I just recorded like a maniac. And I loved it. Like version 1 was sick. It was great. It was amazing. I thought it was brilliant. And now I'm on version 6. Back in Costa Rica, in that same feeling of this is never gonna get fucking done. When I first started the program, it was about like mindset and like setting goals and a little bit more ethereal stuff. And then it got really tangible, and then it became like trainings, and I'm at a point, I'm so fucking close. I'm so close. So close to creating a business in a box, and not just press this button and like you have a business. Everything from the mindset, building the culture, to the conscious creation conveyor belt that is your workflow system, to managing your personal time as it relates to your work and it relates to your everyday, right? Everything from meeting agendas to meeting systems to new hires to onboarding to managing your marketing flow and your sales flow and your monthly review with your team members and how to deliver to clients and how to produce products and how to like the whole thing's fucking there. I made it. Like I'm using it right now. Like I have a whole template. It took me 2 years and $1 million fucking to create, and it's sitting in front of me, but I cannot come up with a way on how to deliver it in a way that tells a story of what it's all for, how to take the linear steps to set it up, and then to have like an index, a resource center with like quick tips and with templates and with the trainings and shit like that. So literally everything you need to make $1 million is just like, it's sitting right there. It's done for you. Problem is that everyone is in a different level in their business. So it's not just for beginners. It's called Level Up. There's a series of different levels that you have when you are building your business, right? You've got the first level of just starting out, 0 to 10 G's a month. You're usually like working by yourself and you are a one-person show. And if I was making it just for that, easy. Like my workflow workshop does that. It's amazing. What's cool is like this shit is like, it builds on itself, right? So even if you are running an 8-figure business, you still start with like the basics, okay? So there's some like fundamental basics of it. So that no matter what you start, where you start, like you have to understand these things. Like you have to understand like why you're doing all this shit. Of course, you like building your business, you want to make money, you've got a mission, you've got a gift, you want to help people, all that shit, great. And like, you should already have that before getting this system. But then it's like, how do you actually build it, right? You got this piece of raw land. You got this vision of this beautiful home you want to build. But ultimately, nobody ever in the history of anything really ever wanted a home. What you want is a space to create memories, a space to create stories, an asset to have, to accumulate wealth and legacy and a series of experiences and adventures that get passed on through generations. That's ultimately like why we're doing all the shit that we do. But then there's like elements of it, right? You gotta learn how to till the ground, whatever. You gotta dig a hole and you gotta lay a foundation. You gotta know how to use concrete and all that shit, right? So there's the basic fundamentals to building it, but then it's like for specifically where you're at, it's no longer linear. So you got like that first level, the 0 to 10,000, one-person show, right? Then you've got the second level, you're doing like 10 to 25 G's a month, and you probably have an executive assistant, maybe an appointment setter, maybe a project manager, 1 to 2 hires. So now you're playing a different game. Business is not the same now. Like, so for instance, when we're talking about how to run your meetings, right? When you are by yourself, the way that you check in is by just doing a weekly action plan and take a look at what you got to get done, make sure it gets into the calendar, and then towards the end of the week, figure out like what projects you need to take place in order for you to build the next thing in your business, yada, yada, yada. Super simple, right? But now you add like an operator, you add an executive assistant, and you got to delegate to this person. Now the meeting agenda's changed. There needs to be a meeting where everyone gets together and discusses what everybody else has to do. So it's kind of like action planning for everybody. And we'll keep going along with like the meetings. So then you got level 3, right? You're doing $25,000 to $50,000 a month. Now you are adding more players. You're adding like a head coach. You're adding like an operator. You're adding a CPA and stuff like that. So now what you knew to be your regular meeting agendas is now thrown out the window. It's totally different now. Then you got the 4th level where you're making like 50 to 100 G's a month. Now you got an operator, you got a salesperson, you got a head coach, you got an appointment setter, you got an EA. Well, at this point, not everyone needs to go to all these meetings. It's a waste of time. Then you got the 5th level where you're doing like 100 G's to like $250,000 a month. And now you have departments and you have levels of management where, you know, you've got one person that's managing a couple hundred other people beneath. So your meeting agenda changes then. So we're just talking about meetings here. We're not talking about like workflow or responsibilities, because roles and every time you add a new person, roles and responsibilities change. It's a whole thing. And I'm trying to tell the story of how you start out and build to that place where you're doing 3-4 mil a year in this particular program. I got other ones. If you're doing like 10, 20, then that's a more customized system, because at that point you don't need a system overhaul. There's usually like a department or two that is just fucked and like it needs to catch up with the other things that are successful in your business that made it that successful in the first place, but it's holding it back from doing like 10 mil. Anyways, but like when one person gets this thing, how do I make sure they get exactly what they need? If they're all on different levels, then I can't tell a linear story. But there are fundamentals that I have to tell. Oh my God. And like the last thing that I want is someone to get this system and be like, nah, I don't get it. Because the truth is, you could have the cure for cancer, but if nobody follows the steps, it doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Doesn't matter how, none of it fucking matters. And I know I got a hit on my hands. I know it because when I'm able to work with people one-on-one, it's simple, because just tell me your problem and then I point you to the solution, or I just like create it on the spot. But I want to systemize it. No one else is doing this. And by the way, if you do know someone who's doing this, please put it like in the link. Give me a link to this shit. Let me model it. And on top of it, I got my mindset identity imprinting in here, which plays a huge role in it. I also have the precise language, which is the binary code that runs the process of creating shit. I got all the scripts written. I got all the trainings laid out, but I can't shoot them. Shooting will take me a few hours. Like I just knock them out. But if I don't understand the story, then it's just going to seem like just a bunch of random fucking YouTube videos that are giving you like quick tips. That's some bullshit. I'm changing the game. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I just suck. Because that's what it fucking seems like it right now. I've had 4 hours of sleep in the past 34 hours trying to figure this shit out. And I just want to fucking quit. I want to go on that couch and I want to finish watching my Netflix series, The Movies That Made Us. They had one on Forrest Gump. It was good. It was real good. So understand when you have a 7-figure business or like whatever, people are bragging about shit on the internet. Like it ain't all vacations, convertibles, and Mai Tais. It's not. I mean, I do live in paradise in Costa Rica. I could spit in the ocean from my balcony, but I'm fucking miserable and I want to go to dinner, but I haven't showered in 3 days. I smell like a gorilla, like terribly. It's the type of smell that I can smell as like I move. Like if I'm still, I can't smell myself, but like as I like shift a little bit, it's offensive because I get obsessed about shit and I can't do anything but think about it. Fuck me. Sorry, Mom. I think you're on. Fuck. This is what you get for being original. I should have just followed the fucking industry. I should have just jacked something that someone else took, made a minor tweak to it, and put a new coat of paint on it. And instead of calling it like the freedom formula, I would just call it the ultimate freedom formula and just keep barfing up the same shit that I just swallowed from the shit that the last person just barfed up. But that bubble's coming to an end. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, all you online consultants, all you online coaches, it's going to burst. All the coaches teaching coaches how to be coaches that teach coaches how to be coaches, and the 7-figure formula, and just like, Jesus Christ, the copycats will die. And the ones that will survive are the ones that have the strongest systems, the most charisma, and most importantly, original thought. And I can't help but have original thought because I don't have the attention span to pay attention to a program long enough to jack it. And I also read on a grammar school level, which also prohibits me from being able to plagiarize. It's really difficult to plagiarize when you can't read. But also I have no references in my fucking head. Oh my God, I'm so close. It's so good. It's so good. If I had this shit that I'm creating right now, 10 years ago, I'd probably be doing the same thing, but I'd be a hell of a lot richer. And I'd probably still be frustrated over the next iteration of whatever the fuck I was doing. Secretly, I like to be angry. Seriously, it's where my best stuff comes from. Just angry as hell, man. Living in this dichotomy of like, life is a privilege, but it's also very, very, very difficult for me right now. And I'm dealing with a bunch of emotional shit that happened here in Costa Rica that you will find out soon in my new podcast called I'm Just Trying to Tell a Story. Oh, in the first story, it's a 6-part miniseries at the beginning of like what actually happened to me here in Costa Rica. You will not believe your ears. It is inspiringly tragic. The inspiring part is an assumption because at the moment it's still tragic. Oh my God, when I get this down, like here, like whenever I'm creating something, I'm thinking about not just like, I don't think about the masses. I don't really think about the masses too much. It's probably why I don't have like a super like wide following. I'm always thinking of like an individual person, and I'm thinking of like the person that is like enthusiastic and passionate and gifted, and like they do what they do and they do it good. But figuring out the infrastructure is such an opposite part of their brain that they almost have to sacrifice years of their life doing something they hate and that they're not good at because there's no framework for it. And if there's a framework, it's too rigid and it's not agile. But in today's day in business, like if your shit ain't agile, like if you ain't shifting, you ain't changing, you're dying. You will die. Not like physically die, but your business will die. And I'm telling you, you're gonna see a lot of it in the next few years. A lot of people are gonna be wiped out. On the other hand, if you're too agile and not rigid, then there's no system. And then you've got a whole team of people that are on board with this amazing mission that you have. But when it comes to execution, they're all speaking different languages, all doing things different. And even though they're in love with the mission, they're in love with the team, working inside of the system is so fucking frustrating that they just decide to leave. I've seen that too. And I have the answer. I'm doing it. I'm living it. And I can't figure out how to tell the story. How do I make it work for all of those people? I gotta stop moving my arms. I smell like a goat. Like if you came in here, you would feel like you were at the Lincoln Park petting zoo. And with like the hay and like the goats and like the ducks and stuff. And like the ducks don't really smell. I mean, like they shit and stuff like that. But goats have a really particular smell. It's almost like you can smell the hair. That's what it's like right now for me. I haven't eaten today. I don't remember the last time I ate. Oh no, I did. I got a sausage. So I go to Hako Meats. I made friends with this guy. His name is Tiger. And not like Tiger, but like, hey, Tiger. So old dude, he's a gringo, and he was like an investment banker, and then he taught himself how to like smoke meats and stuff. And he's got the best meat in Hako. That's where I live, in Hako, Costa Rica. And he like smokes meat every day. And I knew today he had brisket. I knew it, but my internet died today. So again, I was supposed to have a 3-hour meeting with my creative director, Jim Brophy. What up, Jimmy? And I had no internet. And also I was on call with a potential enterprise client that is building this most amazing AR subconscious technology thing. Huge deal. My internet goes out in the middle of the conversation. I have to run down the street in the rain because like it's the rainforest. It's closed because it's a national holiday today. It's like their 4th of July here. And then I have to run back. I think I got internet. Then I don't have internet. Then I go to another restaurant. They don't have internet. Another restaurant. They don't have internet. And so by the time that I got to the meat store, that it was 4 o'clock already, and all of his smoked meats, and he had brisket, were gone. And I still didn't get to have my meeting. And now I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs like an asshole, bouncing my head off the walls, trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to turn like all that. No, you can't see it. Whatever. I got like sticky notes. I got shit everywhere. Just like thoughts just all over the place. I got sticky notes here. I got sticky notes here. I got a notebook here. I got fucking 6 tabs open. I got 2 workspaces open. And I've got 2 spaces within the workspaces open in ClickUp. Anyways, I get to this shop and I'm like, hey, yo, Tiger, you got that brisket, bro? And he's like, stars, man, stars. It's like, I sold out. I'm like, dude, I'm hungry. And I don't want to be a fat roly-poly anymore. Already down 8 pounds. I'm like, I ain't going back. And so he's like, sorry, I come back tomorrow. And then he like goes into this jar and it's like, I'll get it. Here you go, Spence. It's a dried out sausage. I don't even know what it is. It tastes good, but this is my dinner. Only good boys that finish their work, that are smart, get to eat. I don't even deserve this. Then you get the doubts in your head like, this is going to suck. Nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to get it. You're going to like promise that it's going to solve everybody's problems. And then they get it and they're like, this is stupid. Maybe it's goat. I don't know. I don't know what they have up here. Sorry, Josh. Sorry, bro. Hey, Maria. What's up? Just going through the standard ups and downs of the creative mind. You have to hate yourself first before you can create something great. I don't know if it's a standard rule, but it's definitely been my experience. And then what I'm afraid of is like, I'm going to pick it. I'm going to like, okay, I'm going to choose a path. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to shoot it and it's going to be good. But then I'm going to realize that it can be put in a better order. That's even better than the order that I put it in. But if I put it in a different order, it won't make sense, which will take away from how good the original shot was. And then I have a dichotomy of like, do I put it in the better order, but it doesn't make sense? Or do I keep it in the shitty order where it does make sense? Or maybe, just maybe, yeah, I'll just reshoot the whole thing. I've been there so many times. I don't want to go back. And if I do, when I do get this right, it is going to be a masterpiece and it is going to be the most useful online business tool to grow and scale your business from every element, from a strategic to an operational to a cultural to a mindset, and integrate it in with the way you function, the way that you live. So it becomes a life management system that scales your business, makes you money, and grants wishes like a fucking genie. But I just need to rub my own genie to get my answers. That sausage is spicy. And then like, this is like what happened in just that moment right there. My mind calmed for just a moment. And it got some relief. I heard a whisper from my angels in my ear saying, Spency, it's going to be okay. You'll figure it out. And then I get a reminder. Remember how you fucked up your podcast yesterday? My 5th and 6th episode, I didn't use my mic. On a podcast talking about like my emotional and personal and relational life is busted into a billion pieces, but my machine works, my business works, and I can't even set up a mic right. And so like full transparency, the reason I want you to see this shit is because when you see the celebrations, there's always something behind it. 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, I started this new business. I retired from the dating industry in October of 2019. And now I got over 24 people on my team. We've done like $300,000 months in our quarterly planning and review. We hit every single one of our marks, from the income to the profitability to the milestones, the projects, the OKRs, the KPIs, the hitting my mark just every single time. Celebrating, going on trips, went to Joe Dispenza for a week, went to Tulum for I don't even know how long, so it felt like a fucking year. Then came to Costa Rica, got myself in a little bit of trouble. That's why I'm back. And then I go home and I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a house in Texas. And then I got a house in Texas. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm in Texas now. And then I go back home and then I'm like, oh, no, I'm moving to Costa Rica. I was like, yeah, I live on the beach, and all that stuff. There's always another side to it. So when you're manifesting your shit, and you're doing your vision exercise of 1 year from now, I want you to imagine that you're on a white sandy beach with your toes in the sand and you've got a pina colada in your hand and the best version of yourself comes up to you and says, how do you feel now? There's blah, 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 blah. Yes, do that. Dream. Feel what it feels like to be successful, but also understand you're going to eat shit. And if you have your expectation that you're not going to eat shit, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like winter in Texas last year, okay? Or like when you go to LA and it's 55 degrees and everyone's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. 55 degrees in Canada? Shit, they got their shirts off. They're diving into the lake and they think it's great, eh? Right? Same temperature, different response. Why? Expectation management. The expectation to be freezing cold in January in Canada is almost certain. Whereas in LA, it's like, how could this ever happen to us? And so the response to objectively the same thing is very different. And that's like, I want to share with you, like, fuck yes, with the manifestation stuff. Yes. Like, feel how it feels to be like all the Tony Robbins shit. It's great. It's wonderful. Get into the field in your body. Like Joe Dispenza, feel it. Awesome. Great. Also prepare to eat shit. I don't mean eat shit like, you gotta work 20 hours a day. I mean, like sometimes, but like it's part of it. And so I'm not actually like really angry. I'm just letting it flow through me. And eventually the monster kicks and screams like the little toddler that I am. The body will settle. And once all the activity's up, I go back. I'll take a seat. I'll take my 5 minutes of silence. I'll take my 5 minutes in my notebook and I'll write down my thoughts. And then I'll sit down here, try to sort shit out, eat a sausage, maybe listen to some tunes. I'm gonna figure it out though. Ooh, and when I do, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be ridiculous. Because my company's running the whole thing right now. The reason you haven't seen me in, I don't know, like a month or two, is because everything else around me, other than, good business, loving friends, supportive family, strong business, living in Costa Rica, healthy body, great relationship with God, my angels, all that stuff, that's fantastic. Everything else, nightmare. And the business got stronger because of the culture, the systems, the mindset, the integrity, all of it. That's what makes that shit work. And that's why you do it. So you can live the dream. Also, in the event that you live the nightmare, the whole thing doesn't come unraveling. And all I want to do is just like write a post, get on video, and just run my fucking mouth on how amazing this is. It's the best thing that anyone's ever done in the history of anything. I can't wait. But I can't in good conscience do it if I think that it fucking sucks. And that's where I'm at right now. As time goes on, this sausage becomes less and less appealing. Doesn't look good in this light. I think Tiger overcooked it. Yeah. No, that does not agree with me. Was that gristle? Ugh. Okay. I need a drink. I don't know if I'm sweating because I'm angry or just like that sausage had a weird spice in it. Could be both. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me in my misery, which eventually will end in the result of me rising through the ashes like a phoenix and creating a masterpiece. If this video resonated with you and you are ready to scale your growing business, then come join our free Facebook group by clicking the link below.